So it turns out the PlayStation 5 Slim is coming to Canada. As proof right here, we've got the brand new PlayStation 5 Slim and it is here in our hands. Today is the official launch day of the PlayStation 5 Slim. You're probably seeing this a day later because it takes time to film these videos and get them to my editor. Today, what we're going to cover is just a quick unboxing, what is in here, and first boot up. What does the first boot up look like? Now, we will explore some other things with the PlayStation 5 Slim, such as the size, the weight difference, and all of that. We're going to be comparing it to this, which is the OG original launch day PlayStation 5. So if you want to compare where we first started to where we are now, this is the video that's going to cover all of that. Before we get too far into this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below. If you've seen some of our content already and have not subscribed, we want you to join our community. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's get back to the video. Now I have a million other questions as well, such as, how do you install an SSD upgrade? Does the new PlayStation 5 Slim work with peripherals such as this, the B-Savior U5 dongle, which allows me to use my favorite Xbox player on PlayStation 5 exclusive games? And really, I've got a ton of other questions, such as like the Cronus Zen, such as other peripherals, such as the plates, such as how does the drive attach and what does that look like? Some of that we're going to cover in this video. Some of it's going to be covered in future videos. So if you have not hit the subscribe button, hit subscribe because I've got tons of videos coming up. And this is one of the only channels where if you post a comment asking something specific, I will either answer your question in the comments or make a video showing you exactly what you're asking. So don't be afraid to post in the comments and ask those questions because you will actually get them answered from this guy. It's time to jump straight into the unboxing. I've actually, if I'm being honest, I knew I was gonna be getting this. Well, first of all, let's cover where can you get this. So you can get this from Amazon, you can get this from Walmart, you can get it from Best Buy. It's all online retailers only currently, but in-store might happen at some point. I don't know when, but right now it's online only. Now, I personally knew that this was coming like a week and a half ago, and I haven't been able to stop dreaming about this for some reason. I don't know why, but I've been dreaming about this stupid thing. And in my dreams, it was like so tiny. But judging by the size of this box, I don't think it's quite as tiny as what my dreams were making me think that it was. Now my normal knife isn't here, so I'm gonna just use these sharp tweezers to try and stab this. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Put that over there. Now, in standard PlayStation fashion, there's a box inside of a box. We'll pop this open. And then we'll figure out which end is up. Slide this out. You feel. Now you may have noticed this fell out. Now this is your Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. It has a scratch token that you can get a pin, and then that will allow you to actually download the game or unlock that game. I don't know if I'm even keeping that game, so I'm gonna put that right there. For whatever reason, our manual is stacked on top of here. We've got another manual, which is the safety guide. Wow. How to be safe with that. That's awesome. I guess we'll pop this off. So it's got some cardboard and some cardboard. And this is all wrapped up. So this is our first look. Now, first off the bat, this is actually a little heavier than I kind of was anticipating. But there's the system. We're not going to do a side-by-side yet, but if you're peeking over there, you probably can tell kind of the side-by-side. But we're going to open this. We've got a standard power cord. We've got, oh, this must be the stand. And it is. So there's one stand. There's two stands. We'll look at that in a minute. And then I got to have a controller in here somewhere. So here's a USB to USB charger cord, controller, which is your standard PlayStation 5 controller. Nothing special about this. It's white as expected. Got an HDMI cable, which I'm actually going to keep and use because this HDMI cable is one that allows you to fully unlock all of the features of your PlayStation 5. If you're not using the right HDMI cable, you actually won't unlock 120 frames per second, even if your monitor or TV supports it. You need the right cable. And I'm not confident I have the right cable on my current setup. So I'm going to swap out to that one because then I know for sure that I've got the proper cable. So one thing, like I don't know much about what's on this. So the top is very glossy. I don't know if you can see it. The bottom is actually textured. You can hear my hand sliding on that, and then you can hear it sliding on that. So that's kind of cool. And then it's got this piece of tape to make sure that the panels don't pop off in transit. So take that off, never to be put on again. Now let's do some PlayStation Fat to PlayStation Slim comparisons. So here we go. We'll do front to front first of all, so you guys can see. These are kind of with the back lined up, so you can see kind of how tall it is and how fat it is. The fatness is, if I go like this, you can maybe see it a little bit better. I'll align the sides so you can go down the edge. It's really not that much shorter overall. Tall to tall, it's definitely a little bit shorter that way. And then, I mean, sitting down, you're not gonna see a lot of difference there. Now this has got a stand to hold that like that. But one thing that's nice is they've made at least the disk drive part here flat, and then they made a Sony logo here for the leg. So that's what it actually sits on to balance it. Whereas this guy, you can see if it's like this without the stand, it'll rock all day because it never really sits very flat. And I'm sure a lot of people complained about that because it has to be on that stand all the time. Now on to the legs. Now the legs go, there's two little holes right there, and there's little holes right there, and these legs go in those holes. I want to, before I do that, I want to pop this panel off and just see what that disk drive looks like. To pop these off, I've seen guys in different videos open these up, and specifically I'm looking at you, Austin Evans, who made this look really, really hard.
Boy, I don't like that noise at all.
And I don't know if that's because you're an Xbox guy and an Apple lover and you're just trying to make Sony look bad, but we're gonna try and open this the proper way, which is along this front edge here. We're just gonna kind of pull up, and we'll see if we make it look as hard as what he did. So, and then the back has like a hinge. See, here's the thing. If you do this wrong, this back little clip here is gonna rip off because you've popped this way.
Third time we took off one of these shells, we bent it back a little bit, but these little plastic little hooks started to bend back and it wouldn't go in. So we had to actually take some pliers and shove it back together. They're definitely ready to sell you some spare shells when you break yours.
But we're gonna try and open this the proper way, which is along this front edge here. We're just gonna kind of pull up, and we'll see if we make it look as hard as what he did. So, and then the back has like a hinge. See, here's the thing. If you do this wrong, this back little clip here is gonna rip off because you've popped this way. So that's how you properly pop that panel off. So you stick the back in and then clip. Now, I'm gonna try the same thing on this one. So this side pops like that and like that, and then that hinges. So again, if you watched Austin Evans, he tore these off because he opened it wrong. If you open it right, it's like a hinge, right? So you gotta get the front edge lifted and then pull this off, okay? So if you do it right, you can do this a million times without breaking it. He was just cranking on it however he felt like it, and that's why he broke it. So don't do that. Now here's the drive. Now I don't know how that on the back here. Oh, okay, awesome. So the drive is not screwed down or hard at all. It just goes like that. So it's the opposite of the cover, but look at that. So it's got a proprietary plug right there that plugs into the board. Let's have a look here. Oh my goodness. It is so much lighter with the drive off. That's what the plug looks like right there. So if you're wondering, is it a USB plug? Is it a USB-C? No, it's a proprietary Sony plug, which you can see right there. And that's how the drive goes on. So if this was a slim model, you'd get a different plate that doesn't have this giant drive end on here. Now we're gonna leave the drive because I do have some disc-based games, but this just installs again by hooking on right there and then dropping on there. And it's quite seamless, really. And then once this cover's on, again, the hooks in the back hook on first, like that, and then pop the front. Easy, very easy. Now, up under here, you can see the fan and the external drive slot, which we're gonna explore more in a future video. So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel, and we will put in a bigger drive into this thing and do a boot up and initiation of the bigger drive. But that's not today. Put this guy back on. Again, you're gonna hook the back. Here, I'll show you from the front. And that's it, I guess. Made the popping sound, now it's attached. Now let's explore the ports before we hook this up. So on the front edge, we've got two USB-C ports in the front and a power button. The eject button is moved down here so you don't accidentally hit the eject button instead of the power button when you're trying to turn it on. Around on the back, we have the HDMI port, we've got a LAN port, we've got two USB ports, and the power plug. Now, when we compare to the regular PlayStation 5, ooh, that's a lot heavier. We had power and eject here. We have a regular USB port up here and a USB-C port. So that's two USB ports in the front still. And in the back, we also had two USB ports. The only difference is this one now has two USB-C and two USB-A, whereas this guy had three USB-A and one USB-C. You should expect to see USB-C showing up as the de facto port on more and more devices, PlayStation 5, Xbox, all of them. Eventually we're gonna switch to all USB-C anyway, so PlayStation's a little bit ahead of the curve on that one. Now before I hook it up, the one thing I do wanna know is the weight. I've got this scale, and all I'm gonna do is put that down and turn it on. I'm gonna change the units to pounds and ounces because that's what most of you guys know. And even though I'm in Canada, that's all I know. So we're gonna make sure it's zeroed. It is. We're gonna put the PlayStation 5 on there. This is the launch model PlayStation 5 and it weighs 9 pounds, 13.25 ounces. That's the old fat PlayStation 5. We'll take that guy off. Make sure it's still zeroed, and then we'll weigh this guy. 9 pounds is a lot, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. We're gonna stick this guy on here. And it weighs 7 pounds, 0.19 ounces. So it's a pretty significant weight savings. One thing I do want to talk to you guys about is something that's kind of obvious to me, and it makes me question one of Sony's choices with going with the PlayStation 5 Slim. Now, we've all been told that this is actually the new PlayStation 5. So it is a slimmer model, but you're not going to be able to get this anymore. The PlayStation 5 Fat is being phased out. So once the current inventory is gone, it's gone. This will be your only option. Now, I have heard people complain, and I want to talk about this for a minute. So people have complained that there was a slight price increase in the PlayStation 5. So we got a slimmer model that's arguably cheaper to build, but the price is higher. Now, there's a good reason for that, and that is mostly supply and demand. So the PlayStation 5 initially was being scalped for quite a high markup when guys were getting their hands on them and then selling them to people, and people were paying that. So what that means is Sony kind of missed the target price. They had to stay close to the Xbox pricing. They couldn't be wildly different, but it's clear that they can ask a little bit more money. So they are. That's the bottom line. They're asking more money for it because they can. It's not because it's cheaper so the savings should get passed on to us. It's because it is still being sold at a loss. PlayStation or Sony was losing a ton of money when they made every single one of these and sold them. They are just losing a little less money with this. It's not a break-even endeavor, even with the price increase. With the price increase, they're possibly close to breaking even, but it's just breaking even. That means they're giving this to you at no cost to them, essentially. You know, I know it's a touchy subject and everyone's like, well, whatever, they could give it to me for free. And they could, but no business model gives you free stuff. That's just not the way it works. Except for Gears and Tech, we give you free content. When you're making a slim model, one of the best and easiest ways to do that is to remove the power supply from the console. That gets a ton of heat out of the console, so you don't need as much cooling, and it allows it to fit in a smaller form factor. Now, the Sony fat PlayStation 5 has the power supply inside, and you know that because the power cord looks like this. There's no fat brick on it. So this one still has just this connector. It turns out the PlayStation 5 Slim still has the power supply inside the system. And as we will show you in a teardown video, the power supply takes up about 1/3 of all of the total space inside here. The cooling system is the other third, and the system itself is the other third. So if you wanted to make a true slim model, you would remove that power supply. Prediction number 1, a PlayStation 5 Super Slim model is incoming. At some point, we will see a model where this giant fat power supply has been removed, and this will get super skinny. We'll probably have a top loading system by then where it just pops open. You can drop your disc in the top that way, and it will be ultra slim. That one's a couple years away, probably around the same time as the PlayStation 5 Pro comes out. It's time to do a first boot up and just see what it looks like. So we're gonna do the first time boot up of the PlayStation 5 Slim. Whoa! So it looks like they've changed the boot sequence. Okay, now it's the regular PlayStation. Okay, so this is saying to connect the controller. Obviously, we're gonna do that. And then push the PS button. Yeah, we did it. Perfect. Now that the Wi-Fi is connected, it's asking us to adjust our screen size, which is fine. We're going to, power options for rest mode. Let's go for optimized, that's fine. We'll agree to the software. And right off the bat, they want us to do an update. So why not? Of course, what is a new system without a day one update? Might as well, right? The update is fully complete. Now we can press the PS button and it wants to update the controller. Of course, update now. Why not? I got nothing better to do except play my new PlayStation 5. How am I supposed to do that if the controller's got to be updated? And then of course, what's an update without a restart? So now the controller's restarting, and then maybe it'll let me play my brand new PlayStation 5 Slim.
Four to 6 days later.
Now, interestingly, I'm stuck on this screen and my PlayStation button's not doing anything, and I'm not sure what's going on. It seems like, I don't know if the controller froze in the middle of the update or if the PlayStation 5 has frozen already, but I'm going to show this to you guys because I have no idea what's, like, it seems like. Let's try and do a forced power shutdown. And try turning it back on. See if that, like, I don't know if this is normal, but I'm showing you guys so that when you get yours and you're like, yeah, mine just stayed on this wavy screen, I didn't know what to do. I had to turn mine off to get it to boot back up, and then hopefully it's gonna actually work. Now we're back on the same screen. Oh. Now it's updating the disk drive. Why not? Let's update the disk drive. Okay, your disk drive is connected to your PS5. To use your disk drive, register it to your PS5. Okay, so this is an interesting concept. So I think the reason they do this is so that you can't salvage a PlayStation 5 disk drive. Now, I may be wrong, and someone will test this later. Maybe I will. I actually have 2 of these. I bought 2 of these, full disclosure. So if you register a disk drive to one PlayStation 5, does it lock it out from being used on the other? That's the question I have. I'm gonna say to do this later because I don't even know if I'm gonna need to use the disk drive, and I don't want to block it from being used. Like maybe I wanna sell it and just put a flat plate on in the future. Okay, this wants me to connect to my PlayStation Plus. Now it's doing 2-factor authentication. And now it's verifying my account. And then, transfer data from another console. If you already have a PS4 or another PS5 console, you can transfer your data to this PlayStation 5. It won't remove it from the other console. I'm gonna do this later because I have my other PlayStation 5 is full. The entire hard drive is full and my external SSD is full. So I need to put in an external SSD in this one before I even consider transferring anything. Now, interesting, this says I can't use your disk drive. What did that say? I can't use your disk drive. Okay, and then so I've got my account. Got it. Awesome. Settings, I mean, this is all exactly the same. This is the typical PlayStation 5 dashboard experience. The only thing that we will notice on this is when we go to storage, we now have 848 gigabytes of usable storage, whereas the fat PlayStation only had 600, and I think it was 46 or 650 gigabytes of storage. So this one includes 200 more gigabytes. That is almost enough to put your copy of Modern Warfare 3 onto your system and actually install it. So this is a massive game and it uses tons of storage. But it's really, once you get booted in, it's the exact same experience as a regular PlayStation 5 fat model. So nothing different there. And that's it. That's everything there is to unboxing and setting up your first PlayStation 5 Slim. I'm sure you guys have questions. Let me know the questions in the comments down below. I'd be happy to answer them. I'm happy to do more testing on this system, compare the two to see what I think of both of them. I will be doing long-term testing, but honestly, I don't expect to see any groundbreaking differences because this is really just the successor for this. It should be the same in pretty much every way.